Hello makers, and welcome back to another quilt block video. And you're probably wondering, what? A quilt block video? It's been a long time since my last video, and you guys followed my journey with my paper piecing for the first time ever. And as promised, I'm back making another video and a way easier block. For all you beginners just waiting to do your first quilt, I think this block is going to be perfect for you. And this time around, I'm definitely more confident in making this quilt block than the other one, as I'm a little more familiar with the sewing machine and sewing fabrics together, so I hope that you enjoyed this one too. I call this block the Easy Peasy block. Get it? Easy Peasy? Okay, maybe I'm the only one that thought that was funny, but this is the block I'm going to create using just pure solids today. Although this block looks a little bit difficult, fear not, it's the easiest block you will ever make. So anyone that's dipping their toes in quilting, this block is for you. So let's get started. Okay, so I have most of my pure solids cut out already. I have featuring dried carrot, grapefruit, sandstone, Mauvelous, and lemon tart. I will also have all the pure solids listed below and the fabric requirements so you can follow along. So although these fabrics are already cut up, I saved one to cut up in person with you because I think one of the biggest things that beginners struggle with, or at least I definitely struggled with, is just cutting the fabric correctly. And one of my biggest tips I have for you is to cut the fabric into the similar size of the piece you're trying to get. That way you can just trim up whatever the excess fabric is. So here I'm gonna cut up a 2.5 by 9.5 rectangle for the bottom part of the block. You'll need a ruler, a rotary cutter, and a cutting mat. And I have one that rotates here, so it's a lot easier for you to use. So make sure that your fabric has straight edges so you can line it up perfectly against the ruler. So there, I cut it at 9.5. I'm gonna turn it around and cut the rest off. So I would recommend either purchasing like these little rubber stickers on the back of the ruler, so when you place it down on the fabric, it doesn't move. Well, or get a ruler that already has some texture. So this one already has, I can show you up close, already has like these textures on the ruler. So now that all the pieces are cut up, one of my biggest tips I can tell you is place the fabric on the cutting board in the way it's supposed to look like when it's already sewn, so you don't get lost or sewing the wrong pieces together. So this is how the block is going to look like in the end. And I would say the most difficult part of this block is just the order you sew the block. So instead of like a regular quilt block like my last video, you would sew row by row. In this case, you kind of sew piece by piece. So we're going to start off by sewing the yellow piece and the sand piece together. And since this is solids fabric, it doesn't matter which way you place the fabric, right sides or wrong sides, because the fabric is reversible and you can sew on any part of the square, because no matter which way you open it will open the correct way. So line up the fabrics. And also for a beginner, don't be afraid to pin as many times as you're comfortable with, because sewing straight lines took me a long time to do, and it got easily resolved just by pinning a little bit more. So you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and my sewing machine's already set up at 2.5 stitch length, so that's the length you would want to stitch to. I also had someone that asked earlier in a previous video on why the needle is moved to the right side, and it's because if I placed the fabric all the way to the edge of the foot, when I start stitching the line, it will give me a perfect 1/4 seam allowance. Make sure you hold the pieces tight with two hands. So you can see from moving the foot to the right that you will get a perfect 1/4 seam allowance. Now this next step is very crucial, and I think everyone likes to skip it because they want to go the fast route and get this done as soon as possible. Please press your seams down. So I have my handy little DIY ironing board, pull a little on the fabric and just press on the seam open. So the first piece is done. And now the next thing we're going to do is piece these two pieces together. Pin as many times needed. Sew it at 1/4 seam allowance again. Now that part's sewn together, press open your seam. Now the next step is to sew this piece and this piece together. So flip this over, line up your fabric and pin. Sew again at 1/4 inch. This piece is sewed together, so press the seam open again. Okay, so now you're going to sew this piece and this piece together. And in this case, I keep it in the same way as the block, so I know to sew on this edge and not on any other edge, so when it's done being sewn, when I open it up, it matches. Line up your fabric and pin. Don't forget to press open your seam again. Now the next step in assembling this block is to put this piece and this piece together. This is a long piece, so pin as many times as needed. Sew again at 1/4 inch. Great, now you're almost done. So the next step is to sew the bottom piece to the top piece. So you're going to flip this fabric over, pin, and sew at 1/4 inch. So the next part is sewing this piece to this piece, and then after that you're done. So this is the longest piece of the quilt block, so definitely pin as much as you can. By the way, just before I finish the last seam of this quilt block, I just want to give a quick shout out to the shirt that I'm wearing today. This is the shirt that they made me for Bonnie Christine's lookbook, and this is from her collection, The Open Road. So if you want to know more information about the print and the pattern I'm wearing, I'll also link that in the description box below. Okay, back to sewing. It's coming together, so press open the last seam you sewed. Notice I said press and not ironing like a mad woman like this, because you're gonna stretch the fabric. Just press, and voila, your quilt block is done. Yay! Look how cute this is. It's super simple to do. Anyone that knows basic skills of sewing can make this quilt block. Make one quilt block in less than 30 minutes. Make a couple more blocks and make a bigger quilt. And I'll actually put up a mock-up right here so you can kind of see what it looks like when you make multiple blocks and put them together. It looks really unique and modern. Of course, if you want to see all the pure solids that we have in stock, or if you want to see which online stores have it so you can purchase them, make sure you click on the website link right here and you'll find all that information. If you enjoyed this video and found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button before you go so you can stay tuned on the next video that gets posted. I'm already excited to get back to these quilt block videos, and I really want to know what you guys are interested in. Is there a quilt block you want to know how to sew? Is it something harder? Is it something just as easy as this? Please let me know in the comments below so the next quilt block video can be catered to what you want to see. Of course, if you end up making this block, please share with me on social media with the hashtag #ArtGalleryFabrics or AGF Quilt Block Collection. I'd love to see your version of this. Of course, you can switch up the colors or even include some fabric prints and make it your own. So until next time, happy sewing. Bye!